I've been thinking the past few days that I needed to do the second video of about how I became Greycloud and or figured out that I've always been Mr. Cloud. Anyway, so I think where I left off was I'd been in the woods for about 3.5 months or 3 months by a lake over in Tennessee in the coldest part of the winter. And in those woods, I learned quite a few things. I saw many things that if I told you about, you might not believe me. But I will say this, there's a lot of things we believe to be fiction that are actually real. I'll leave it at that. You can take that for what it is. So when I came out of them woods, I began going by Greycloud, the gift-giving scribe. And of course now, about a month ago or whatever, the Spirit told me to introduce myself to the world as Mr. Cloud, Sage of the Eternal Moment. The gift-giving scribe title will be given to another person that is a scribe, a writer, and somebody that is a very big gift giver. But on my journey throughout the years, from the beginning, I did not quite understand what my name, Greycloud, represented or why. Now I have come to learn way more than I ever imagined about why now I'm Mr. Cloud and what I'm here to do. I'm blessed to know my reason for being here. I'm blessed to know that I chose to be here. Whether anybody believes me or not, I was asked at some point, will you go there and do a certain thing and will you help fulfill this mission? And it's been a good journey. And I'm a writer. I'm a scribe. I love writing. No, I've only had like one or two things that have been put in print by somebody else. And, having something published or printed does not make you a writer or not. If you write, then you are a writer. You write, I don't know any other way. For several years, I kind of slacked on my writing, and that was due to my excessive alcohol, trying to drown out certain thoughts and trying to fool myself that I was making myself better by drinking, is what I thought. But this is not about trying to push sobriety on anybody or anything either. I'm trying to think of where to go with this, but I'm just sharing the next part. And so you figure that was in 2008 when I was in those woods, and I came out of them woods, and then I ended up in North Carolina. I was homeless on the streets in Asheville, North Carolina for about 3 months. Each month I went into the mental hospital 2 times. I overdosed intentionally. And the third time, the doctor said, hey, I can let you go back out. You'll go back to the streets and you'll probably be back in a place like this next month. Or, and at that time I wasn't struggling so hard with addiction or alcoholism. But the doctor said, because you do drink and you have had issues, you ever thought about rehab? And I was like, not really. He said, well, you can go to rehab, be there 14 to 21 days, and they'll help you get into a place called a halfway house, and You can stay there, you won't be on the streets, and maybe you can get your life together. Well, I did that, and I ended up in Morganton, North Carolina, one of the coolest little towns I've ever lived in. Actually, I consider it more my hometown than where I was born. Like when I moved there, there was still a Walmart that closed at 10 o'clock. Can you imagine that? I mean, I thought they were all super Walmarts at this point. Now, while I lived there, they ended up getting a super Walmart that was open 24/7. But that tells you a little bit about what that town was like. And also, it was the first place I'd ever been that if you were drinking in public and drunk, you got put in a cell for about 4 hours, depending on what time of day it was. And then the next, if it was later that evening, you wouldn't get out till the next morning. If it was early in the day, you was out by that afternoon. You didn't have to go in front of a judge. You weren't charged anything. You just had to sober up and then you was released. Very much like Mayberry and Andy Griffith Town. And I haven't been to that town in over 4 years, and I plan to go back. Maybe not to live, but to see a lot of people that really influenced me. And there's a lot of people there that I influenced. Man, when I walked around that town, I mean, everybody knew me. The police hollered at me all the time. They'd stop, make sure I was all right. There was a couple of them that would stop, give me gift cards, give me money, help me out. I knew all the criminals, of course, because, I was into drugs and drinking, and I knew all the homeless people. Well, I mean, I lived on the streets for half the time I lived in Morganton. It was the coolest little town that had so much available for someone that didn't have much of anything. You could live on the streets there and go to a mission and eat every day, take a shower every day. You could get clothes washed. There was so much assistance, and that was awesome. I'd never been anywhere like that other than a big city. Usually big cities have more opportunities for people on the streets. But that little town, it's a blessing. If you're ever in North Carolina, go there and check it out, man. It's a cool little town. And anyway, I'm going to end that there. I don't want this is kind of getting long. It's going to take a minute to upload because I'm just using data. No Wi-Fi. Anyway, until the next video, and I will share a little more about why Greycloud is Greycloud, Mr. Cloud, Sage of the Eternal Moment. Over and out. Ditto.